101 review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the founder and president of Hero Games Charity and the founder and CEO of the Counterculture Solutions. No other than Mr. Joshua Dano.
What's up,
Welcome,
man?
welcome.
How are you?
Yes, fabulous, fabulous, Mr. Josh. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Yeah. Hey, Josh Daniel. Um, Born and raised in Bedford, Virginia. Joined the Army at 17 years old. And I just retired this year after almost 21 years in special operations. So spent all of my career in the 75th Ranger Regiment and Special Forces. And through that time, I learned a bunch, made a lot of friends, made a lot of mistakes. Uh, Met a beautiful woman who I've been married to for almost 19 years, grew a family. I have 4 kids, and now I'm retired, dude. That's my primary role.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. And Mr. Joshua Daniel, thank you so much for your service to the world. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about your remarkable journey and the mindset behind your transformation. What childhood experiences in a rural America most shape your resilience and work ethic?
I think that we had to be creative in many ways in order to be happy. I didn't have the cool Disney vacations. I didn't have the super expensive toys. Um, we didn't have a lot of money at all. And we found happiness through connection with my mother, my father, my brother. Um, and, during the time or at the time, maybe I didn't understand why that was different from some of my peers. Um, but in hindsight, it was perfect. It's exactly what I needed. A perfect day for me as a kid was leaving my house in the morning and go and explore the woods all day. I mean, like, you find so much through that exploration. I mean, you learn so much about yourself, how to be strong, how to be independent, how to be creative with your environment. And yeah, man, I think that that connection with my family is what was the inspiration.
Well, Mr. Josh, you're lucky that you have a family. Family indeed. For sure, family ties is better than money. It's priceless. How did growing up in a single parent household influence your definition of success?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. The world has a lot of opinions on what success or what defines success. I mean, typically it surrounds money, right? Like, money is the
Yes.
big driver when we talk about success. I think that I realized at an early age in life that success was healthy relationships with the people that you care about. Look, also having a purpose, right? I feel like we all need to seek our purpose. Once we find it, relentlessly pursue it. So I think that I was able to see that um, through my father, who works and has worked at a graveyard for 40 years, right? It's not a typical occupation when you think about excellence, right? No
Yes.
one's saying, hey, we have this nuclear scientist we have this Green Beret, and then we have this foreman at a graveyard. You know, we don't view it as such, but I watched him be exceptional in a career that maybe we don't deem exceptional. And so that was able to really set an example for me about what success looks like. It's very much subjective, right? It's based on the individual. But I think it showed me that success, at least occupationally, was about being excellent in whatever you do.
Very well said, Mr. Josh. Truly, truly empowering. What was your breaking point moment that made you decide to change your trajectory?
Hmm. Well, I don't think that I had a moment like that as a child. I chose to join the army at 17 because I had a calling. Um, but it didn't feel like I was escaping anything. In fact, I hated leaving what I grew up in. And many people many people in this town love to leave. I didn't want to leave, man. And the whole time I was away, I thought about coming back here, and that's why I came back here. But I think I had some breaking points throughout my career, for sure, that I had to look inward and ask myself, um, where am I headed? And is this in line with my end state? And if not, what do I need to do to affect it? I think that happened at least once throughout my career.
Interesting, Mr. Josh. So who are the unlikely mentors or role models who help you along your journey?
I think the unlikely mentors are my children. I watch my children and I see their actions, their mannerisms, their behaviors, and I see myself. And it provides me this outside look into myself. And it makes me better when I see behavior with them that is less than optimal. It's typically behavior um, that I've had myself, and that's a brilliant opportunity for me to kindly and with a lot of love coach them into the direction that we would rather see, while also making that change internally.
Mr. Josh, what disadvantages from your upbringing become unexpected advantages in special ops?
Resourcefulness and gratitude. So resourcefulness in the sense that, man, we made do, you know. And then when I joined the army, man, I thought I was rich. you know, I remember I bought my first house when I was 21 years old. And I thought, wow, I'm rich. I can't, it's amazing. I had a almost brand new truck when I was 19 that I bought after my first deployment, and I just thought, wow, I never thought I would live this life. And so everything that I worked for or that was given to me was a blessing, a really big blessing, because I just never expected that. I never expected to to achieve something as simple as buying a home. And then gratitude, man, are you grateful for everything? I believe that we wake up with breath, and that's a gift, right?
Yes.
Aside from being physically fit and taking care of yourself, you really don't do much to earn your breath. You may die tonight, right? But waking up with your breath, that's a huge gift, man. So anything on top of that breath it's another gift, right? So I
Yes.
think that understanding how to employ employ resourcefulness and gratitude throughout my career. Dude, you start from nothing, you start from zero, and every little thing that comes your way is met with gratitude. And your mindset is just different when you view things as such.
Yes, people, be grateful and stop complaining and count your blessings. Mr. Gus, let's talk about the military transformation. What specifically drew you to pursue the 75th Ranger Regiment versus conventional military path?
Yeah. um you know for a long time, my response to that question was I wanted to be the best. And there's certainly truth to that, no doubt. Um, what I realize now is that I wanted to have the greatest impact. And while in many ways the 75th Ranger Regiment is a very elite unit who could be considered, probably is considered the most elite light infantry unit in the world, um, that that's not actually the reason. The reason was because the Ranger Regiment would give me the opportunity to have the largest effect. In hindsight, that's what it was. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I went into it for one reason and it shifted to another.
What was the hardest psychological challenges you face in special operations training?
Um, the hardest emotional load came from missing my family, man. I mean, you can already tell there's a theme here. I adore my family. I hate being away from them. I mean, look at my life now. Everything we do together, man. We go work out together. We build things together. We've been working on building a structure here on our homestead. We've been building it together. We do everything together, man. So when I had to leave my family, whether that was my parents earlier in my career or my wife and my children, who my oldest daughter has 8 deployments of experience, of me leaving. I hated it, dude. It hit me in the gut every time. And that was it. The other stuff, it was necessary. You go to SEER school, survival, escape, resistance, and evasion, and they do all sorts of things to you that you may experience in a prison camp. And honestly, man, it was very well done, high professional standard, but it's all part of the process. I saw it as necessary. I did it. I enjoyed a lot of it. Missing my family was the hardest emotional load I ever endured.
Mr. Gus, as the founder and and president of Hero Games Charity and the founder and CEO of a Counterculture Solutions, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
They're the same. Impact as many people as possible until I die.
Wow.
That's it, man.
Good luck. Good luck to your goals. Good luck to your goals, Mr. Joshua, and we salute you for that and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Man, how wonderful that would be if people felt like they wanted to be me. I would feel immensely grateful. But um, if I could offer them anything, it would be love your family and the people around you and pull them close and share everything with them and give them everything. Give them everything that you have and shoot for the stars, dude. There's nothing that you can't commit to, endure, and find success in if you are willing to take a leap, and if you're willing to apply a growth mindset, and if you're willing to do the hard work, I mean, that's all it takes, dude. And it sounds easy. Um, it's not going to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. And you should love that it's hard, because when it's all over, you're going to have a great story to tell.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Josh. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah, man. That's a difficult one. I'm a big reader. At any given time, I'm reading a couple books, not too effectively, but The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. And then you can go on the journey of exploring the rest of Ryan's books. But start with The Obstacle is the Way, and it's all about mindset.
Speaking of mindset, Mr. Josh, and performance, how do you define relentless pursuit of excellence in a practical daily terms?
Yeah. Um, Man, that's quite subjective. But if I were to look at it through the example that I gave initially with my father, why is he excellent? Being a gravedigger for 40 years. He's excellent because for 40 years he's woken up every day at 4:18 a.m. Why do I know that? Because I was making a joke within the family about my mother, and when she wakes up, and she said, "Oh, well, I have a consistent schedule." And I said, "No, you don't. What time do you wake up?" She says, "Oh, typically between 5 and 6 or 7, whatever it was." And I was like, "Dad, what time do you wake up?" He goes, 4:18. This man's been waking up at 4:18 for 40 years. He goes to work. He gives it everything he has. He sets the example. He comes home and he does normal people things. And he's a very normal person, but he is living an exceptional life outside of his professional life. He does so much for the people around him. He's always extending himself. He's always accessible to the people that are around him. And because of that, he is excellent. And that is excellence through his lens. So, as I said, it's quite subjective, but maybe you can pick pieces of that and translate it over into whatever you're doing.
Very well said, Mr. Josh. Beautifully articulated. And thank you for that recommended book. What's your process for maintaining focus when facing seemingly impossible odds?
Hmm. It's not hard to focus when you're facing impossible odds. You know, if you're surrounded by the enemy, as I've been a couple times, specifically, one occasion comes to mind, it's not hard to focus. You know what needs to get done. Um, the hard part is executing, because sometimes doing the thing that is required is really, really difficult. And maybe it's not what you want to do. And maybe it's not the glorious route. Maybe it's not going to look good when everything is said and done, but it's the right answer. So I don't know that focus for me has been the issue when facing insurmountable odds. I think the difficult part is the execution of what's right.
Mr. Gauss, how do you develop mental toughness without formal support system growing up?
Um, I feel like I had a great support system growing up, but mental toughness is developed through facing adversity consistently with the same posture and the same mindset, and overcoming, and then repeat it. Keep going, do it again and again and again and again. And then you're going to wake up one day and go, okay, I've developed some level of resilience. And then guess what? Still doesn't get easier. Repeat it. Go back out there, do it again and again and again and again. You have to maintain it. It's going to go away. It's perishable.
What's the difference between healthy perseverance and dangerous obsession, Mr. Joss?
It's a great question. Um, the ability to be introspective, the ability to look inward and go, have I gone off the rails? The ability to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Dude, I had to do that. Sorry. Um, but seriously, man, the ability to be introspective and to ask yourself, hey, is this aligned with who I am, my core values, the direction that I want to go, the people in my life? That's what it is, I think.
So, how do you reframe failure to make it a stepping stone rather than a setback?
Well, failure is subjective. Um, maybe some people would say if you tried to become a ranger and join the 75th Ranger Regiment and you failed at selection, then that would be the failure. I would say the failure is never trying. That's a way bigger failure, is never stepping into the arena. So stepping into the arena for me is the success. With Hero Games, with Counterculture, it's not marked by how much money we make or raise this year. It's really not marked by any super objective, even measurable results. It's marked for me success as an entrepreneur or a business owner is that we're still doing it and we're happy because we may be making $1 million next year and be unhappy. So we're still doing it and we're happy, dude, we're successful. So I think it's quite subjective.
Mr. Gus, let's talk about the lessons for civilians. What poverty to success mindset shift will you help most people in regular jobs?
Um, Adjusting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And the biggest thing when we talk about growth mindset is that everything is happening in your life for you, right? I got in a car accident. Oh, well, this happened to me. Reframing that and looking at failures and saying, this happened for me. This is all part of the process. This is important that it's happening. And yeah, it sucks, but it's okay, man. I'm grateful for what I do have. So adjusting from that fixed mindset to a growth mindset is the number one thing that you can start doing today.
Truly, truly mindset, people. How can someone apply special ops principles to break through a personal limitations?
Um, Special forces, Green Berets, because there's only one special forces, it's Green Berets. We are out of the box thinkers. There's no such thing as no. You can't tell me that I can't figure this out. There's going to be a way. We're going to make a way. And that's a way that you can take something that we as Green Berets do on a daily basis is just simply don't accept no and find ways to influence your environment, find ways to leverage maybe something that's bad. You might be able to take something that is perceived as negative and use that to positively impact your outcome. So we don't take no for an answer. We always find a way. That way might not be conventional. In fact, we're known as unconventional warriors. We are experts in unconventional warfare. So try to critically think outside of your normal parameters.
Mr. Giles, what's your advice for people who feel their background disqualifies from them from success?
Well, your background will certainly influence or I guess maybe impact or define what your road looks like, right? But as long as you have the attitude that everything in front of you is an opportunity, then you somewhat have an equal opportunity, right? Look, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, there are people in Africa, there are people in every continent. I choose Africa because it's war torn. People are starving, truly starving. It's been unstable for 100 years longer. But there are people in every continent that are disadvantaged. It's a spectrum, right? Like you take your person here in the United States who is truly disadvantaged, whatever that looks like, right? Could be a white kid like me in rural America living in poverty. It could be a minority in an inner city, whatever it is. But you take that person and you compare them to the worst in the world, your third world countries, if we can still use that term, like Afghanistan. Well, I promise you, if you are in a developed nation, your opportunity it vastly exceeds those individuals. So this is a difficult question to answer. You know, where is this person? Where is this person that is trying to be successful? And then, you know, success is subjective. The reality is, and this is what we can certainly say, if you have a poor attitude and you have a fixed mindset, it doesn't matter if you're rich and you're white in America, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be successful with a poor attitude and a fixed mindset. So, what we can do is adapt that growth mindset, have an attitude that is enriched by gratitude, right? I mean,
Yes,
and I think that's a hell of a start no matter where you are.
definitely. And Mr. Joss, how does your definition of wealth differ from when you are growing up?
When I was a kid, you know, I wanted this jacket one time, and it was like a $70 jacket. It was a starter jacket. It was a Redskins starter jacket. Washington Redskins, my favorite football team when I was a kid. And all of the cool kids at school had starter jackets for their favorite teams. And there was no way that I would ever get a starter jacket. It just was not in my cards. And that was okay, man. I didn't sulk in that thought. And I'll never forget, you know, we were living in a trailer and I was at my mother's house because my parents separated, and just hanging out in the living room, and knock at the door, and I did not expect the knock. I opened the door and it's my dad, and my dad has a Redskins starter jacket for me. And man, I was, you know, I was rich in that moment, and I couldn't wait to wear it to school the next day. And I wore it with pride, and man, it just it meant something. And I try to keep that mindset when I think about wealth. A $70 jacket for my kids is pretty typical. We don't um I we're still very careful with how we spend our money. We don't just blow our money on extravagant things. You know, we don't need all the fancy brands. We don't. My children are very cool. They don't need all the special brands. But a $70 jacket really wouldn't make my kids think anything. You know, it wouldn't have the same impact as when I was a kid. And that's okay, man. That's okay. It's not because they're ungrateful. It's because their perspective and their frame of mind it's different. They've been very blessed because of my parents' actions that enabled me. And then now I'm able to give my children not necessarily a better life, but I'm able to give them more material things than I received as a child. But the key there is that I have not forgotten how important that starter jacket was, man, and how to value everything, and just dialing it back to gratitude. I try to treat everything like receiving that starter jacket.
Mr. Josh, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, law 101 and mental health 101, love letters in its fourth season, as well as my movie 101 review, music 101, and science 101 and sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Josh, if you could only teach one principle from your journey to help others, what would it be?
The single principle is try to live a selfless life. Try to put others in front of you. Do everything you can to give back.
Indeed, Mr. Joshua Daniel, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you so much for your service to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or anything that you're doing right now?
Yeah, if you want to see the biggest impact we're making, go to YouTube and type in Hero Games Charity origin story. Watch a 7-minute video, and you're going to be impressed with, I think more than impressed, you're going to be bought into what we're doing.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Joshua Daniel, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Joshua, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Hey, fantastic questions, man. Very challenging. I enjoyed it.
More to come, people. See you soon. Thank you, likewise, Mr. Josh. You have empowering us.